Okay, magandang hapon po sa lahat po ng ating mga taga-subaybay mula Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Welcome po sa ating Ituloy Online Tutorial Class sa Introduction to Philosophy of the Human Person at tayo po ay nasa huling bahagi na po ng ating pag-aaral ay sa philosophy. At sa lahat po ng ating mga learners, no, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. But before that, gusto ko po munang batiin ang buong SDO ng Olongapo City, ang aming SDS po, si Ma'am Lailani Samson Cunanan, ang aming ASDS, si Dr. Maylene Minimo, ang EPS po ng Araling Panglipunan, si Madam Edwina Espiritu, ang EPS din po ng Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao, si Ma'am Gina Bugay, ang aming TSDS si Sir Allen Toyogo, at ang aming buting school principal si Sir Samson S. Boqueron. So magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat at sa lahat po ng mga kaguruan, mga parents at mga learners, especially our senior high school learners po sa inyo. So, huling bahagi na po, no? At before that, ako po si Tutor Eresa, ang makakasama po ninyo sa oras na ito. Okay? So, Introduction to Philosophy of the Human Person, Quarter 4, Week 8, huling bahagi na po tayo. At mostly, dahil ito po ay huling bahagi na, tayo po ay nasa review ng ating lesson. So mula lesson 1 hanggang lesson 8 po ito, no, na ang review po ng ating Intro to Philosophy. At ang Intro to Philosophy po sa lahat po ng ating mga kaguruan, sa mga students po na nandiyan, senior high school students, ito po ay isang core subject ninyo. Okay? Hello po kay Sir Bernaldo, kay Rain, Oli, Jessie Ponayo, Junior, and Ma'am Limpa Canyo. Okay? So, ito po ay isang core subjects. At kung ready na po kayo, just pull out all your learning modules. Kung meron pa po kayo mga learning modules na hawak dyan at hindi nyo pa po na ibabalik, dahil ngayon pong week na to, hanggang bukas po, hanggang Sabado, July 10, ang pinakahuling araw po ng ating school year 2020-2021. Kaya kung meron pa po kayong lesson 8 dyan ng inyong intro to philo, ilabas niyo na po at ito po ay ating sagutan. Okay? So, okay. Since, okay, sabi ko nga po, quarter 4 week 8, review of previous lessons tayo. Mostly review of previous lessons. Okay, dahil review of previous lessons, umpisahan natin to sa lesson 1, ng doing philosophy. Unang topic po sa ating Intro to Philosophy, the doing philosophy. What is doing philosophy all about? Sa ating lesson 1. It is mostly, if you are familiar with this, yung mga may hawak po ng pivot modules dati. So I'm using pivot modules and a combine of our learners' materials. So, pwede pong, yun po yung ginagamit kong references sa ating pag-aaral. No? Yung pivot modules po natin na pwede nyo pong ma-download sa inyong DepEd, na mula po sa DepEd Commons at downloadable po. For free po yun, walang bayad yun. No? Mga my dear learners, my dear parents, for free po ang ating nasa DepEd Commons. Anytime, pwede nyo po yung i-download. Okay? Pag may bayad po, nako, kailangan nyo pong i-report yun. No? Yun po ay for free. At of course, I am also using our learners materials na binigay po ng DepEd po sa ating mga schools. So, what is philosophy? Ito po ang common, no, na figures na una nating makikita sa ating modules. Ang mga questions, what do you notice from the pictures? Did anyone get the correct answers? Why or why not? And what does this picture imply about our efforts to understand the realities of life or answers our perennial problems? So, sa pictures na yan, isang malaking elepante. Siguro mga noon, they are not familiar what is that animals all about. Kaya may mga nasasabi, it's a wall, it's a rope, it's a tree, it's a snake, it's a spear, and it's a fan. Actually, in learning philosophy, marami tayong mga questions sa buhay natin. Even in our own lives, we have a lot of questions in our lives na kailangan naghahanap tayo ng specific answers, naghahanap tayo ng mga answers, pero hindi natin mahanap yung talagang answers na gusto natin. Kaya ang dami natin ginagawa, we are all curious in our lives. So, philosophy, what is philosophy all about, no? So, in studying philosophy, there are 3 main questions na lagi nag-a-arise. Una yung, where am I? How do I know it? And what should I do? No? So, yan ang 3 basic philosophical questions na kailangan maintindihan natin mga senior high school learners natin. Where am I? How do I know it? And what should I do? And ano nga ba talaga ang nature and functions of philosophy? So basically, when we say philosophy, it is defined as the love of wisdom. Ang ating pagmamahal sa karunungan. It comes from two Greek words, philos, love, and sophia, wisdom. Okay? So basic po yan, wag na wag natin kakalimutan yan. Even mga dear senior high school kapag tayo ay nasa college na, no? Kasi philosophy is also one of the minor subjects, no, ng mga natin. Pero depende yan sa courses ninyo. It can be your minor or major subjects. Okay? So there are different branches of philosophy. We have metaphysics. It deals with questions regarding reality and existence. Epistemology, that discusses the nature of knowledge and knowing. Yan yung nasa lesson 2 natin. And of course, we have ethics, deals with moral questions and dilemmas. Aesthetics studies the nature of arts, and politics defines the principles of proper social system. So they are the basic branches of philosophy. No? Wag na wag po natin kakalimutan yan, my dear senior high school. Metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, aesthetic, and politics. No? Yung limang yan. And they are the basic branches of philosophy. Okay? So what is philosophy again? Philosophy is the love of wisdom, and it comes from two Greek words, philos and sophia. No? Okay. So another important things in this lesson is the lesson 2, the methods of philosophizing. So what is it all about? In lesson 2, makikita ninyo yung questions na yun. Have you ever experienced believing in something you thought is true, but in the end you discover that it is false? Basic questions, have you ever experienced believing in something you thought is true, but in the end you discover that it is false? Yung tipong sinabi niyang, mahal kita at ibibigay ko sa iyo ang langit, ang buwan, no? Pero in the end, hindi niya binigay ang langit at buwan, no? Iba pala ang naranasan mo, no? So mga ganun. May mga ganyan ba kayo na-experience, no? So, in lesson 2, what is the most important part is the characteristics of it. Yung maintindihan natin, ano ba yung truth, ano yung knowledge, ano ba yung mga characteristics ng opinion. Basically, the characteristics of opinion is mostly based on our emotions. True, no? Usually we comments, we do something based on our emotions, lalo na if we are in the heights of our emotions. Yung sobrang taas ng emotions natin, it can be happiness or sadness or extreme, no, na nasa sadness tayo. Marami tayong nagagawa, marami tayong nasasabi, no? It is kaya usually opinion is based on emotions and open to interpretations. Anybody can interpret our emotions, no? Our facial expressions. It cannot be confirmed. And inherently, it is biased. No? So, good afternoon kay Mr. Lendel Thompson Caliboso, mukhang estudyante ko to. Good afternoon, my dear. So, it cannot be confirmed, inherently biased, and open to interpretation. It's mostly based on emotion. So, that is the characteristics of opinion. Another thing is, ano ba yung characteristics of truth? Kasi in lesson 2, it is important that we identify what is the different characteristics of opinion and truth and knowledge. No? So, ang mga characteristics of truth is based on the facts of reality. Ibig sabihin, makatotohanan siya. So, kahit tingnan mo siya sa internet, kahit tingnan mo siya sa lahat ng mga news clips, websites, so mayroon kang facts. May talagang siya ay makatotohanan, totoo siya, well and tested siya, nagkaroon siya ng research, na-interpret siya, no? So, totoo. Like, for example, if sinabi niyang the sun is the center of the universe, so, totoo na kahit saan mo tingnan na website, ng videos, na that the sun is the really center of the universe, no? So, based on the facts of reality. It can be confirmed with other sources, just like what I said, and independent of one's interpretation, preferences, and biases. Ibig sabihin, pag sinabi mong truth, totoo, makatotohanan, meron siyang basis, meron siyang mga references, meron siyang confirm siya. Kahit sa ang sources mo siya tingnan, confirm na yun siya. So that is truth. Kasi when we say opinion, no, based on biases yun, inherently biases siya, and at the same time, based on emotion siya. So wala kang specific confirmation kung saan siya makikita. So, yan ang nasa lesson 2 natin. So sana yung mga listeners natin, yung mga ating mga senior high school learners, sana may napulot kayong aral sa ating lesson 2. Lalo na ngayon in times of pandemic, ang hirap-hirap, alam naman natin yan, na ang online classes, ang modular classes, lalo na ang printed, marami akong mga estudyante din umaangal kasi minsan nahihirapan silang intindihin yung module. ay ang sinasabi ko sa mga anak, try to do something. Like for example, watching Ito Like, kasi yung mga ito ang makakatulong sa atin para maintindihan natin ang ating mga module na hawak. Diba? Ang hirap intindihan kaya kapag self-learning siya. Lalo na pag senior high school kasi hindi siya kagaya ng elementary and junior high na napag-aralan mo siya all throughout. No? Ito kasi bagong-bago yung mga subject, lalo na yung mga HUMSS ko nahihirapan dyan maka-adapt na sa applied social science, mga ganun. Kaya malaking tulong talaga ang ating Itulay tutorial class. So, another thing is the lesson 3, the human person as an embodied spirit. One of my favorite topics no, in this subject. The human person as an embodied spirit. Ano ang sinasabi nito? No? What is a human person all about? And ano ba yung general kinds to distinguish a human person? Unang-una, yung sinasabi natin, cognitive self. When we say cognitive self, something within and cannot be physically seen as is the essential components of a human person that deals with the what of a person, which includes human persons, belief, desire, dreams, and intention. So there are two general kinds to distinguish a human person. Yung cognitive self natin, hindi ito nakikita. Ito yung sinasabi natin intangible. Possession natin siya, meron tayo nito, pero hindi na siya nakikita ng karamihan. No? Bakit ano ba kasi ang mga ito? Ito yung mga personal beliefs natin, personal desire natin. Ito yung mga intentions natin, yung mga ginagawa natin, mostly nasa isip natin, kinikilos natin, no? These are our cognitive self. And another thing is physical self, no? Something can be seen in his or her physical appearance, which deals with the essential features of the human way of life, or the who of a person, which includes our body type, our strength, and appearances. So remember, there are two kinds to distinguish the human person, no? Based on cognitive self, something that within us, and our physical self, yung nakikita sa atin, yung panlabas natin. Or sometimes yung madalas natin ginagawa, yung actions natin na nakikita ng mga tao. Okay, that is the physical self. Okay? And ano ba yung mga katangian ng mga tao as an embodied spirit? No? Always remember na ang tao at ang ating spirito, no, at ang ating kaluluwa ay iisa yan. So ano ba yung mga katangian natin na sa as an embodied spirit, no, bilang tao? Una, meron tayong self-awareness. Hindi dapat nawawala sa atin yan. We have self-determination, no? And is able to reach out or interact with other people. Kasi nga sabi nga, no man is an island. So dapat marunong tayo mag-interact sa ibang tao, kaya nating mag-reach out ng ibang tao. Yung ibang term, sa mga may hawak ng ibang modules, ang tawag nila dyan ay externality. Ibang term na ginagamit yan. No? So is able to reach out and interact with others. Another last qualities natin is human dignity. Dapat meron tayong human dignity. Kasi ito yung bagay na dapat hindi nawawala sa atin because as long as tayo ay nabubuhay sa mundong ibabaw, ipinanganak tayo, no? Tayo ay meron ng dignidad bilang tao. Alam natin yan. Sa basic rights of children, sinasabi nga na meron tayong karapatang mabuhay, mabigyan ng pangalan at nasyonalidad. Isa yan sa basic natin. Yung dignidad natin bilang tao, tayo ay merong human dignity. So, yung apat na yan, ang basic qualities of a human person as an embodied spirit. Okay? So, huwag po natin kakalimutan. Okay, ano ba ang tinatawag na human transcendence? As part of lesson 3, the human person as an embodied spirit, one of the main topic yan is the human transcendence. This is our ability to surpass our limits and able to transcend your limit through your physical and mental abilities. Ibig sabihin, if you are still remember, my dear senior high school learners, ito yung mga activities natin kung saan ina-identify natin yung mga strength natin at yung mga weaknesses natin. Kasi tayo sa human person, sa human being, meron tayong mga kahinaan at kalakasan. Kailangan alam natin siya. Lalo na in times of crisis, yung mga kahinaan natin, minsan yan yung nagagamit natin para masurpass natin yung ating limitation. No, through our physical and mental abilities. Best example ko nga dyan, ako hindi naman ako ganun kalakas na tao, no? May pagka-weakling din ako. Madalas sinasabi ng asawa ko, may pagka-weakling ako. Pero kapag, nung time na binaha kami, yung talagang malapit ng pumapasok na yung tubig sa loob ng bahay namin kasi yung dating bahay namin, sa baba siya. So, dahil dito sa area namin sa Olongapo, medyo pababa kasi siya. So, kapag mataas, kapag high tide, tapos talagang sobrang lakas ng ulan, no? Walang tigil, bumabaha dito sa area namin sa Santa Rita. Kaya nung time, way back noong 2014, yung sobrang taas ng baha, nung talagang yung mga hindi ko kayang buhatin, nabuhat ko. No? Minsan nga yung ref na sobrang bigat, nabubuhat ng isang tao yan. No? Because of nasa height siya ng emotion niya, no? Na-surpass niya yung limitations niya. So that is human transcendence, na nasusurpass natin yung ating limitations. No? And ano ba yung essence ng transcendence? Always remember that the essence of transcendence is to acknowledge our limitations, identify possibilities for development, and change ourselves for the better. It can be physical or behavioral change such as trying new sports or hobby or adopting a healthier lifestyle. No? So these are the basic essence of transcendence. And another aspect of transcendence is opening ourselves to new experiences and ideas. Since alam na natin, na-acknowledge natin yung ating mga limitations, yung mga possibilities natin, so we need to accept new ideas and experiences, lalo na nga nung, sabi ko nga dati, yung unang time na nagkaroon ng pandemic, di ba, ang daming umangal, ang daming mga negative comments, pero wala tayong magagawa kasi we need to accept our limitations. We need to accept what is happening in our country, in our surroundings, in the whole world, no? So we need to accept new ideas and new experiences. Like for example, this one, no? The Itulay, the DepEd TV, and a lot of activities na ginagawa ni DepEd. So DepEd is experience, sabihin natin nagta-transcend din sa DepEd, no? So from the old style na face-to-face, and nag-come up siya sa ganitong mga activities. So because DepEd is a lot of ideas, na hindi lang si DepEd. I mean, lahat ng government, we have a lot of ideas, we have a lot of things na kailangan ma-adapt natin sa situation. So ganun ang nangyayari sa atin ngayon. We adopt in the situations. We adapt in the changes. No? Hindi kasi tayo pwedeng ma-stop lang sa old style. Kasi evolving tayo. No? Parang sa mga last part natin, no? Na nag-evolve tayo from hunting and gathering society to post industrial to virtual society. So kailangan mag-evolve ang tao. Kasi ang technology nag-evolve din siya. So ang panahon ay nag-evolve din. So everything, no? So we need to accept new ideas, new experiences, and different types of learnings. Diba? So always remember na yan yung sa lesson 3 po natin, the best essence of transcendence. And as a human persons, kailangan din natin mag-transcend. We need to accept ideas and new experiences. Okay? My dear learners. So sa lesson 4, maganda and timely din sa lesson 4, lalo na ngayong panahon na to, no? Pabago-bago ang panahon natin, hindi niyo ba napapansin? Tayo ay kanina sobrang init. Tapos ngayong bandang ganitong oras, 4:22 pa lang, parang uulan na naman. Di ba? Nagbabago yung panahon natin. Sobrang init, tapos maya-maya malamig na. So, uso ang sakit, uso ang sipon, ang lagnat. Kaya nga si COVID-19, mas lalo siyang nag-evolve din, no? May Delta variant na siya. Hindi lang siya yung COVID-19, may Delta variant na, may Indian virus na. At kung ano-ano pa nag-evolve ang virus. Kaya tingnan natin, no? The human person, sa lesson for the human person in the environment. So, my question is, have you ever wondered what happens to the things you throw away? Na-experience, natatanong ba natin yan? Anong nangyayari sa mga bagay na tinatapon natin? Yung mga kahit yung simpleng balat lang ng candy, anong nangyayari dyan, no? Tingnan natin yung mga pictures, parang ganyan lang, no? Yung simpleng tinapon natin na balat dyan lang sa kalsada, pag naipon yan ng naipon, so ganyan ang nangyayari. Ganyan ang nangyayari sa ating kapaligiran, no? Ganyan. No? Pag hindi natin talaga babagawin ang ating lifestyle, ang ating sarili, ganyan ang mangyayari, no? Masisira ang ating environment. Kaya nga ngayon, inaani natin yung ginawa natin, nagagawa natin. Okay? So, have you ever realized the changes in our environments? Do you observe the weather in our place? As what I said kanina, na-observe ba natin? Ako talagang na-observe ko, talagang nagbabago na yung panahon natin. Sobra ang pagbabago. Okay, so hello po sa mga nanonood, si Ma'am LV and Femi Salem. So, hello po sa inyong lahat from Pasig Elementary School. So, yan, no? Yung pagbabago na yan. Yung mga, sa North Pole, yung mga ice, na talaga natunaw na siya. Kawawa yung mga naninirahan doon. Kaya nga yung baha ngayon talagang tumitindi, no? Yung El Nino, La Nina, no? Na-experience natin lahat to, na-i-experience po natin lahat to. No? So, ano ang pwede natin gawin? How can we address these problems? Naisip pa natin yun, how can we address these problems? And ano ba yung gagawin natin? Kaya nga kanina, yung tanong na, have you ever wondered kung ano nangyayari sa mga basurang tinatapon natin? Well, inaani natin. No? Sabi nga, yung basurang tinapon mo, babalik sa'yo, which is true. Yung tinatapon natin sa kalsada, babalik yan sa atin sa anong paraan? Sa baha. No? Pag pumasok yung baha sa bahay natin, ayan, may basura. No? Yung sakit, nagkakaroon ng leptospirosis. Nangyari yan sa atin, no? Sa buong Olongapo, nung kasagsagan na talagang binaha ang Olongapo, no? Yung nangungunang sakit, leptospirosis, delikado talaga siya. El Nino, no? Matinding tag-init. Nahirapan din tayo dyan. Maraming nawalan ng maraming yung tubig natin at talagang nahirapan din sila sa tubig. So kaya nga kung napapansin niyo sa mga Facebook, may mga announcement na yung water supply interruption, yung interruption sa kuryente, power shortage. So lahat yan na-experience natin because of what? No? Environmental issues. At sino ang may cause ng environmental issues nito? So let's see, how are we going to address these problems? No? As a human person, there are three views of philosophical environment na sinatawag natin. Ito yung tinatawag na anthropocentrism. Ano nga ba ang anthropo? This focuses on the significant role of humankind in the world and considers nature as the means by which humans are able to meet their needs and survive. This view believes that humans are the most important species on the planet and they are free to transform nature and use its resources. So ito yung medyo masakit na part. If we are at anthropocentrism, kung ito yung view natin as a person, anthropocentrism, ibig sabihin, ang tao ang mas mahalaga sa lahat. And we are free to transform our nature at gamitin ito by all means. So usually this is the mind, no, of some of the businessmen. No? So sana maano natin tong pagiging anthropocentrism, mabago natin. Kasi the best views, no, tingnan natin, biocentrism. Biocentrism believes that humans are not the only significant species on the planet and that all other organisms have inherent value and should be protected. This view advocates ethical treatment of animals and surroundings. So, ako naniniwala ako sa biocentrism na hindi lang tao ang pinakamahalagang tao sa planeta, no? That everybody has an inherent value and should be protected. Yeah, even our animals, our plants, yung mga environment natin, we need to protect them. Kasi kawawa yung future natin, yung mga future natin, yung mga anak natin, maliliit pa yan, pero ano na yung magiging environment nila 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Kung ngayon pa lang, masyado nating gagamitin or aabusuhin ang ating kalikasan. Okay, another views of philosophy is ecocentrism. The best is ecocentrism because it places great value on ecosystems and biological communities. Sana ganito yung views natin, ganito yung mind natin. This view believes that humankind is a part of a greater biological system or community and that we have a significant role as a stewards or guardians of nature. We are all guardians of nature. We are all stewards of our nature. So we need to protect our environment. Kasi, my dear senior high school learners, kung ngayon pa lang, hindi natin poprotektahan ng ating environment, kalat dito, kalat doon ang gagawin natin, tapon dito, tapon doon ang basura natin, hindi natin isi-segregate ng maayos ang ating mga basura, magtatapon lang tayo ng basura kung saan-saan dyan, no? Sasayangan natin yung kuryente, alam naman natin walang tao sa paligid, pero nakabukas ang kuryente, nakabukas ang electric fan, iiwan natin yan. So madalas, nagkakaroon tayo ng ganyang problema sa school lang. Walang tao sa loob ng classroom, pero bukas ang kuryente, bukas ang ilaw, at bukas ang electric fan. Kaya sana, my dear senior high school learners, sa lahat ng learners natin na nanonood ngayon, sa lahat ng parents natin na nanonood ngayon, no? Maging stewards tayo ng nature natin, maging guardians tayo ng nature natin, pangalagaan natin ang kalikasan, yung mga basura natin, segregate natin ng maayos, itapon sa tamang lagayan, At the same time, kapag wala namang tao, patayin ang ilaw, patayin ang electric fan, save our energy kasi makakatulong din yan sa ating nature. Okay? So, 3 views of philosophy. We have anthropocentrism, biocentrism, and ecocentrism. That is the most important parts in lesson 4. Sabi nga sa lesson 4, human beings as a steward has to show care for our environment and not destroy it because the Earth's future is our responsibility. Okay? So, yan po ang nilalaman ng buong quarter 3 natin, no? Sa intro to philosophy. Next is the quarter 4. Napakahalaga rin po ng quarter 4. This is the lesson 5, the freedom of the human person. At ano ba yung sinasabi dito? No? Nahilo po sa Labas Elementary School, Santa Rosa City, si Ma'am Ides LM. Hello po sa iyo. So, freedom is an intrinsic and essential property of the person. True. Lahat tayo, we are seeking for freedom. Kahit nga ngayon, we are seeking of freedom. Yung mga anak ko, dahil nga sa pandemic, hindi talaga sila nakakagala. So, they're seeking for freedom, pero wala silang magawa kasi bawal pa nga lumabas. No? Freedom is rooted in the human person's self-determination and the exercise of intellect and free will. And there are 3 kinds of freedom. No? Sa mga may hawak ng learner's materials, dun ko po ito kinuha. No? There are 3 kinds of freedom. We have number 1, the physical freedom refers to the absence of any physical restraints. The person has the freedom of mobility to go where he or she wants to go. Ayan, we have the freedom to go wherever we wanted to go. Kaya lang, syempre, mamaya din sasabihin natin, in every freedom, we have responsibilities. So, this is our physical freedom. Now we have the freedom to go wherever we wanted to go. Freedom of mobility. Kung gusto niyo pumunta sa Davao, why not? Diba, my dear husband? No? Kung gusto niyo pumunta sa Davao, bakit hindi? No? Kung gusto niyo gumala kahit pandemic, bakit hindi? Basta kayo ay authorized person na lumabas, no? Bakit hindi? Pero kung kayo ay hindi authorized, stay kayo sa bahay. No? So, psychological freedom, known as the freedom of choice. Nito po sa Bato National High School kay Ma'am Jeneline. So, psychological freedom is the freedom of choice. The person is free to perform actions that he or she considers right and wise. Okay? Ay kung ibinibigay na example dito sa mga estudyante ko dati, yung sa psychological freedom, yung pagpasok sa school, no? Is your freedom to go to school. So, kung talagang gusto niyo pumasok, syempre papasok kayo. Pero kung kayo ay tinatamad, so wala naman kami magagawa yan because it is your choice, no? Freedom of choice niyan, psychological freedom niyan. Okay? Pero the best thing is pumasok pa rin sa school. Okay? Moral freedom refers to using freedom in a manner that upholds human dignity and goodness. There is always a goodness in our actions, the moral freedom. Kasi, tandaan po ninyo ha, 3 kinds of freedom. We have physical freedom, psychological freedom, and moral freedom. At kapatid ng freedom, ang elements of freedom. There are 2 elements. Number 1 is it should be voluntariness. No? Refers to the ability of a person to act out of his or her own free will and self-determination. A person may decide to act or not to act, and these decisions are made out of his or own free will. So, voluntary dapat siya. Hindi siya dapat by force. Yung freedom natin, hindi ito dapat by force. Okay? And it should be based on responsibility. Sabi ko nga, in every freedom, in every actions that we're going to do, there is always responsibility. Parang ano lang yun eh, sa bawat karapatan na meron tayong dapat na gawin. No? May karapatan, may dapat tayong gawin. Hindi siya lahat na aabusuhin, no? Hindi dapat ganon. So, there's always responsibility in every freedom that we have. My dear senior high school learners, sa bawat freedom na meron tayong kaagibat na responsibilidad. This refers to the person's accountability for his or her actions and consequences. Okay? And always remember, no? In exercising our freedom, these are the basic questions and things to do, no? What should I do? Why should I do it? What will happen if I do it? How will my actions or behavior affect myself, others, and my surroundings? And will my actions or behaviors be considered correct, proper, beneficial, and moral? So these are the things that we need to remember if we're going to exercise our freedom. No? And how can I exercise my freedom responsibly? It should be, human freedom should be exercised with control and a recognition of reasonableness, and freedom should be exercised with regards for knowledge and truth. And we should also recognize and uphold not only our individual freedom, but also the freedom of others. Always remember, there's always not always us, kundi yung freedom din ng ibang tao. So, lesson 6, important in lesson 6, intersubjectivity or pakikipagkapwa-tao. So, sabi sa lesson 6, no man is an island. Kasi hindi naman tayo pwedeng mabuhay, mag-isa lang, no? The parable of the Good Samaritans in our Bible, no, it clearly explains the phenomenon of intersubjectivity or pakikipagkapwa-tao in the human world. Though it focuses on the kingdom of God, it still validates the importance of intersubject relations of man. So, sa pakikipagkapwa-tao, hindi naman pinakapakita dito na kung ano yung katayuan ng tao pag siya ay mayaman, dapat mayaman, mahirap, or katamtaman. So, sa pakikipagkapwa-tao, no matter what, ano man ang katayuan mo sa buhay, no, we need to help other people. We need to reach out other people. Because no man is an island, kailangan natin ng ating kapwa. Okay, intersubjectivity. Okay. As a person, we have a personal regard to self, but we cannot defy the fact that we live with others. So we also regard them as part of ourselves. And we tend to place ourselves in other shoes and relate to them in good ways as possible. So that is intersubjectivity or pakikipagkapwa-tao. Another important in philosophy is the lesson 7, the human person in the society. So ano yung nilalaman nito? Sinabi dito yung different forms of society, from hunting and gathering, pastoral and horticultural, feudal, agricultural, industrial, and post-industrial society, and the best of all is the virtual society. And pag virtual society, dito na pumasok yung digital citizenship. And what do we mean by digital citizenship? This is a person who is knowledgeable and responsible enough to effectively use different social platforms in the internet, especially nowadays that we are in the pandemic area. Dahil tayo ay pandemic na situation natin. So ito, digital citizenship is timely. Virtual society na tayo, in which, virtual society and the technological devices today are starting to reshape the human person and human interactions and relationships. Okay? Sabi ko nga kanina, dahil nga nag-a-adapt tayo sa situation, nagta-transcend tayo sa situation, so nagkakaroon din tayo na transcending when it comes to our society. Nasa virtual society na tayo, and lahat ng mga means and communications natin ay ginagamitan na natin ng social media or internet technology. Kagaya nila ng ganito, no? Online classes, ituloy online tutorial classes, DepEd TV, the radio, ginagamitan natin yung mga yon as part, no, ng virtual society at pag-i-evolve natin, no, sa technology. And pag-a-adapt natin sa situations ngayon that we are in the pandemic. Okay? But we need to become knowledgeable and responsible enough sa paggamit ng ating social media. Especially my dear senior high school learners, na wag natin gagamitin ang social media sa bullying at kung ano pang forms ng harassment. Make sure that we are a responsible citizens sa paggamit ng mga social platforms sa internet. Okay? That is the essence of lesson 7. And now, how does society influence our development as a person? The person and the society have a very dynamic relationships in which one cannot exist without the others. And society influences our development as persons in different ways. No? Kaya we need to be a responsible citizens sa paggamit ng social media. Okay? And the last part in lesson, in our module is the human person towards their impending death. Kasi ito yung destiny na hindi natin maiiwasan or kahit anumang gawin natin, dito tayo patungo. Okay? Yung mga yan, no? Pictures na ginamit ko ng aking last topic last week. Okay, so death is commonly understood as the end of bodily functions, which signals the end of a person's life. Also refers to the separations of the body and the spirit. No? So kahit anong gawin natin, dito talaga tayo patungo. Okay, sabi nga, YOLO, hashtag YOLO, you only live once. Okay, so live life to the fullest while you still can. No, so how should I live my life before it finally ends? Things that you wish you had done, but did not. So what makes you happy? Ano nga ba nakakapagpasaya sa tao? Do more of what makes you happy, sabi niya. So we have noble good, one which is pursued for its own sake. It is good in itself. Example, love and friendship. Respect for others, respect for ourselves, respect for our country. So love and friendships, is one of the best example of noble goods kasi usually noble good is intangible, no? Hindi mo siya matatouch. Mostly emotions, ganun. Okay? So, useful good, considered good so long as it serves as a means and ends. So, example niya is money. Useful good talaga yan. Everybody needs it. Computer nowadays, dahil nga virtual society tayo, computer, internet, that is a useful good. Another is pleasurable good. It is good so long as it provides some forms of pleasures, though it does not to be physical. So, example, yung mga pleasures, gala natin, no? Ano pa? Yan, yung mga unwind, no? Yan, sa anak ko, yan ang mga gusto niya eh. Pleasurable good yan sa kanila. Husband ko, mahilig magala, mag-travel. So, pleasurable good yan. So, why do we suffer? There are two kinds of sufferings. We have physical sufferings when we experience physical sensations such as discomfort, hunger, distress, and pain. Another is mental suffering, involves emotions and mental states such as depression and anxiety. So how do happiness, suffering, and death give meaning to our life? Sabi nga dito, death is what gives life meaning. To know your days are numbered, your time is short. And another thing, death is our constant companion, and it is death that gives each person's life its true meaning. So always remember, no, when we do sa mental suffering, kapag yan ang na-experience natin, my dear senior high school learners, don't hesitate to ask advice or seek for professional help. Ang pinakamahalaga, makahingi tayo ng tulong professionally, hindi lang yan basta-basta advice, kundi professional na assistance na ang ating kailangan. So we have guidance designate, guidance coordinator to help us when we are in the mental state suffering in our lives. Okay? So always remember, ang 8 lessons na yan sa ating intro to philosophy of the human person. If you have comments and suggestions, you can email us at edtech@level.gov.ph. Maraming salamat po sa lahat po ng listeners natin, viewers natin, sa mga guro, estudyante, senior high school learners, parents po na nanonood ng ating itulay, patuloy na nanonood ng ating itulay, online tutorial class. Hanggang dito na lamang po. Okay, Tutor Eresa po. Hanggang sa muli, maraming salamat. At paalam na po sa inyo, my dear senior high school learners and parents. Okay, paalam!